Okay, so first and foremost, I want to tell every single one of my healers, the the ones who are in the deep, dark places, having to heal energies that you don't even understand or don't even know that you are healing. Let's put it that way. Like, if you are in a situation where it seems like you just can't get out of it, but you're there and you're still healing yourself, realize there's a reason for that. Okay, so I'm going to kind of explain what I mean by that. I am one of those people that I am in a situation where I am having to heal an area surrounding where I live and where I live. And it's that's like me healing myself is radiating that healing to the area around it. Okay, so let me go ahead and explain what I'm talking about, because I just got confirmation today about this. So I'm an Uber driver, and right now it is like 3:43 a.m. in the morning, where I live. That's why it's all dark outside. And I'm at a gas station. I always go to Mavericks because they have really clean the bathrooms are really clean, and it's just kind of a safe area to be able to stop and eat my food and do all my stuff. Like, rest for a moment before I get back out and start driving. So, sorry. But the point that I'm making. So I was driving today, and I've been driving, but it was a little bit earlier, like my very first ride of the day, that I had a passenger that is staying in it was a Motel 6, Motel 6, but now is an Econo Lodge. They switched the name and everything like that. They got bought out. But it's an area that is known for pretty awful drug use, and not everybody there does that, but it's kind of a rough place. Like, yeah, there's quite a few police cars that are doing their thing there quite often. Not nearly as much recently as there once was in the beginning, like 2 years ago. So, I mean, it's gotten better. And so with this place, I went and picked this person up, and they were, I was taking them to their destination, and we got to talking. Now, I'm a talker. That's why I like driving for Uber, is the fact that, I can talk to random people if they want to talk to me, like, and I seem to always get the really awesome people in my car because, manifestation, law of attraction, all of it. I get really cool people. So I get this person in my car, and we get to talking about seeing things that that most people wouldn't really believe you if you said you saw them. And he was pretty vague about it, to start off with, because I understand. It's one of those things that when you admit to seeing things, people automatically kind of like classify you as crazy. As well as if you are a prior drug addict, people will also associate those two things together, and then like you just have psychosis, and that's where like you get labeled even further lower, so it's one of those things that you just kind of don't say anything, because, you really get tired of hearing people tell you how crazy you are for what you think you saw. And so we got to talking about all of this stuff, and I openly discuss with people in my car, which I think is something that right now I'm finally being like, okay, let me just go ahead and like share this out with the world, like let me just let the whole world know about this. So I openly discuss the fact that I myself see things and hear things and experience otherworldly, supernatural things that, many would chalk it up as crazy. So I was talking about this with him, and he, was taken aback by it, because he was just like, oh, like, so you do believe me, kind of thing. And so that gave him a chance to really actually open up even more. And so I was like, okay, well, so like, what exactly are you talking about with seeing things over there? And he brought up the fact that, so he saw this dog-like being, like this, it's not a dog, but it was very dog-like over there. And it ran towards him and his girlfriend. They both saw it. They both witnessed the exact same thing. And it ran towards them, but it went underneath them and into like down below. He couldn't quite like explain, like just down below, like in the sewers or something like that. Like, I'm not 100% sure. Like, I don't know the whole depths of the story, but this is like this is what he's talking about. And I was like, okay, I can understand that, because, there's been a darkness within those woods, it's woods that are behind the lodge. It's a old farm that has been kind of turned into an area that is like an attraction area that has like a playground, and they do like little things there, but they have a backwoods area. And so it was something that he was like, it was back in there. And I was just like, and he said, this was like a couple years ago that this happened, but things have really cleaned up in the past 2 years. He said, like, it's since they tore the trees down, it's really gotten better. And I was just like, you know what? That's interesting, because I understand that, because this same woods I felt when I first moved into the apartment that I live at. I felt a darkness in these woods, like it felt eerie, and like there was, that feeling of where something is just gonna like jump out and grab you from the dark. It felt that way, that eerie, like if I look sideways, something is gonna move out of the corner of my eye. Like you sense it there, you feel it. It's very ominous, and you kind of don't want to go anywhere in the woods that is shaded and covered, because like something might grab you, something might get you. That's the kind of feeling that I got from that place. But it was, let's say, a year ago, maybe about a year ago. Yeah, I think it was about a year ago. That year and a half, maybe, like last summer, I guess. So it was at some point in time that I didn't have a car, and I was doing a lot of walking. So Part of it was the fact that I would go back into the woods area and I would walk the little back trails a lot. And, you know, more or less just first it started out walking to clear my head because I was going through more intense awakening and mental breakdown, which was requiring me to like exercise. Like I needed to exercise, but I couldn't do much exercise at home, so I needed to get out and into the woods, and so I would do a lot of walking throughout there. At one point, 2 separate occasions. The first one was the fact that I was walking around and there was this little like cove of trees, like branches that were just really hanging down, and it was very ominous feeling, ritualistic, like, you know, kind of like a cave in a way, made out of tree branches. And in that area I noticed there, and I can't tell you what called me over there because it was just this random, you know, inkling, this urge. And so I followed it, and I found these black fake flower petals on the ground in like a ritual kind of like manner. Like it was something somebody did something there that was very ritualistic, and dark. So what I did is I proceeded to pick up all of the petals and say a blessing, a prayer, you know, consistently repeat over. I don't even remember the exact words I said, to be really honest. Like I just in that moment did a prayer and, you know, cleansed the area and threw away all of that. And then at another point later on, some other day, I was walking along the trails and I like to look down. This is going to sound silly, but I like to look down to make sure I don't step on any bugs or any animals, like crickets or, you know, little animals, because like I don't want to squash bugs. I don't like that. They matter too. So I try to be very careful how I step when I know there's a bunch of like little animals around in the park. And so I was looking down at the ground and I noticed in the dirt kind of a small bag. And I knew it was a hex bag. I knew that that's what it was. It was slightly covered, like it had been kind of like knocked up a little bit, you know, from the dirt. So I went and I picked it up and I proceeded to throw it away in one of the trash cans, because they have like a lot of trash cans over there. Said a prayer. Then I proceeded to go home and take an Epsom salt bath and everything like that, and cleanse and clear myself, saged myself and all of that because of the whole thing, because I didn't want it to be residual energy on me. And then I proceeded to pass out after that one because that took a lot of my energy. But it wasn't until shortly after all of that that they decided to cut down a lot of the trees. There were a lot of trees there. Like I loved it. It was very beautiful how many trees there were on that path. But at the same time, it was also an area where from the Motel 6, if people got kicked out, they would go into the backwoods and they would camp there, and they would, you know, like they would find a way to, you know, do their drugs and, you know, live there. And so it became kind of like this homeless encampment in some areas, which was really making it kind of dirty. And, you know, it like, because they would throw their stuff into the river that was right there, the Jordan, like the riverbed that came from the Cottonwood Canyons, and various other things, you know. So it was something that it was not very clean to have them there. So they cut down a lot of the trees, and that opened it up to where people couldn't really hide anywhere. You know, people couldn't camp or find little sleeping areas. So with that, you know, after all of that, it started to become a more peaceful place. The area, and I even like, I talk to trees. I am an odd duck beyond odd duck, and so I asked the trees if how they felt about it, like if they were sad that that they had to go. I asked, you know, if it hurt, if it was painful, and they said no. They were grateful to have been a part of, you know, that area, that to have the memories there. They were grateful to have been there for those times, like the moments in time, and to provide for the people there. So they were at peace. They were okay with it and everything. And so like I was okay with it after that. I know that there is a lot more positive activity there. I see so much more fae activity there, in the positive sense. Like there really were some, you know, questionable forces happening before, but now it's just it's very peaceful, and it's very calm now there. And so him and I were talking about this, and I told him about all the stuff that I had witnessed and everything like that, and he was like, oh, okay. He's like, that makes a lot more sense. He's like, and I was just like, okay, so let me ask you, what kind of like thing did you see? And so he told me about it, and then he told me that what he believes is that it was a hellhound that was preying on the homeless people that were, you know, going back there and, you know, doing drugs and, you know, slowly dying in those places. And it really like hit me. I was just like, yeah, you know, that makes so much sense. I can totally see that, you know, that oh my gosh, like that makes so much sense, you know, that you even put those two together. And then it kind of like got me excited because of the fact that I love whenever I get people in my car that are very much like me, that are spiritual, that are open-minded, that have experienced things that are not quite normal. And so then we got to talking about spirits and about seeing ghosts, you know, and talking to ghosts, and that he probably is like, you know, a spiritual person, and he probably is like a medium, in the fact that if he can see these things, you know, and he can sense these things, then, you know, he has a greater sense of, you know, a different kind of frequency. And so like we got to talking about that, and he's like, really? And he's like, I'm gonna have to look at that. I'm gonna have to look that up. And I was like, have you had other experiences before? You know, like I'm curious, you know, is this the first, or do you have other ones? And so, you know, then it proceeded to go down where like he was telling me more about like the fact that he has seen other things and his experience as a child and stuff like that. And so like it was just like, oh, I love when the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, puts people in my path that I'm meant to kind of like direct them into like things, because this is not the first time and probably won't be the last. But I love when that happens. But what got me was the fact that he noticed that there has been a change in the energy in the last couple of years with that place, and how it's altered into a more positive aspect. So it got me thinking, because I realized that even in my home where I live, the energy has shifted. So just a little bit of, like, it's gonna sound so horrible when I say it, because so many people are just like appalled by it. But so the apartment that I live in is actually an apartment. Well, it's a condo. I'll get really technical, because, but it's a condo, because my uncle can't own he can't own an apartment. But they're condos that my uncle owns, the one condo that I live in. Now, this condo is actually the place where I was sexually abused multiple times, all the way up until 12, by multiple different people. My father, my uncle, one of my father's friends, and I can't honestly say how many people, because I don't have an exact number. Like, memories are still coming back. Let's just put it that way. And so this apartment complex, or I'm sorry, the condo that I live in, it took me a while to really understand why I could not leave. Like, I cannot explain to you how many times I have tried to move out. I have tried to earn up enough money to be able to afford to try and get out of there. Trying to be able to, I didn't have the ability to even like leave, because I have 3 kids. And in order to still see my kids, I have to have a place where they can come and stay. And so the 2-bedroom, they at least share 1 bedroom. And so it's something that, the way that everything is so intricately placed together, because God, you cheeky bastard. And it's not just God, it's that was the plan. That was the plan. And I know that was the plan. And it's so frustrating when you know that that's the plan, and you agreed to the plan, you created the plan, you set it up too. Like, it wasn't like they just were like, here's your orders, good luck. No, you knew full well what you were getting your happy ass into. So I did. And so I have tried so many times, and still to this point I have tried to get out. And it's just not time yet. It's not time yet. It's almost there. The time is getting close. Let me put it that way. For the work to be done. So now, what I mean by this is the fact that I had to stay in this condo. Realize, I was the only one that could close up these portals, these holes, these portals that were created out of sheer and complete darkness, because I was the one who helped open them in a way. Like, it wasn't my actions that created these portals, but I was a part of creating them because my energy was involved. So this is kind of like, a lot of my spiritual gifts were things that I cultivated in a way because of the things that were done to me. So what I mean by that is, like, as a child, the only way that I was able to get away in a way was through my higher chakras. And it wasn't like it wasn't my throat chakra. That was completely closed. Mostly my third eye and my crown chakra. So like I was astral projecting before I even knew what that was, to be honest with you. I was doing a lot of things before I even knew what they were, and I had no idea what to even call them. I just knew I was weird. So, what I mean by that is like, I had to be the person to close down these portals because of the fact that I myself have been able to go to the deepest, darkest, most insanely painful depths of hell and crawl back out of them and be okay. So I knew that I was going to be able to handle closing them, clearing it up, taking that absolutely atrocious energy and transmuting it and clearing it and cleansing it and creating a positive space there. So I have had a lot of paranormal activity there. I mean, for me though, at the same time, I'm used to paranormal activity, to be honest with you. Like, I didn't realize that that's what that was. I know, it sounds crazy. I didn't know that that's what that was until I started going through my awakening. And then I was, when I started going down the rabbit hole of what, like, things were. And when I finally I learned what spirit guides were and, like, all of this stuff. And it was from Mindvalley, which is, a program talking about Jose Silva and all of that stuff, like about meeting your guide. Like, and once I got to like that, I was like, oh shit, I've been doing that all my life. Like, what? This stuff is real? Like, not what? Oh my God. And so, like, yeah, I had to have like a whole thing on that one where it was like, so, okay, all of those imaginary friends that I saw as a child were real. Oh, and then, going through the whole acceptance thing of where, so Jesus, the one that I used to call my boyfriend as a child, was real. Oh, that makes a whole lot more sense now. Little things. And then also the anger that went with it, because I was told that I was crazy growing up for what I saw, and led to believe that if I talked about it, or if I even like admitted this to anybody, I was gonna get put into a loony bin with the grippy socks. And so, like, for a long time, I didn't tell anybody. I never told people about this ability. Like, I just thought I had a lot of imaginary friends, and that everybody heard voices and saw weird things, that's normal. Just, we don't talk about it. We don't talk about Bruno. I haven't actually seen that yet, but my kids tell me that they're gonna make me see it. But like that kind of stuff, like we just don't talk about it. Like, so, I wanted to tell people that if you are like me and you are in a situation where you are having to deal with some really intense energies, and you've been doing it for a while, it's not like this is new. This is like, it's been happening for some time, and you feel like you haven't had the chance to escape, and that you want to leave, but you feel deep down you can't. This is the reason why. Because you are meant to be in that specific location for a reason. You are meant to clear that energy, because only you can handle that energy and cleanse it and clear it because this is part of our mission in coming to Earth, is that some of the people that have experienced very intense, in-depth trauma are also people that hold an immense ability to heal. Their light is very intense. And so we're able to transmute a lot of that energy into positivity. And that's helping Mother Earth. That's helping the world. That's part of the healing kind of process. Like, it's not just helping other people heal in a way, it's helping other dimensions and other spirits and stuff like that cross over. To redemption is another one, because I have been dealing with a lot of spirits that have tried to do things, but I've given them the chance to redeem themselves so that they can save their souls, in other words. So many spirits that have been kind of like called upon and sent towards me, or that have had ill intentions, just don't. It's just, they can't. And so this is where, like, a lot of people, if you totally get what I'm talking about and you're like, oh my God, that makes more sense, I'm glad, because know that you are doing the work and it is being noticed. It's not like, and if you actually like look back, if you really look for the subtle hints, the subtle cues, you will see that things are changing. You will see that there is a difference. And I can totally attest to that, because I can, now that like he pointed out this big thing, I can go back and I can really look at the tiny little minute things that I have overlooked, and kind of noticed just recently how different the atmosphere in the complex is now. Like, it's a completely different shift to what it was before as to what it is now. When I first moved in, the feeling I got from it, the way that it felt, like the way that it was very eerie and uncomfortable, and like just, yeah, kind of run down, ragged, kind of like the Motel 6. It was run down and ragged, and like it didn't feel like it could be saved, is kind of like how it felt. Whereas now it got bought up and cleaned up, whereas where I'm living at is now being fixed up, and I'm seeing a lot more, like, there's not as many I'm seeing a lot more people coming out and getting involved and going swimming. Like, there's a swimming pool there. My kids and I were the only ones that were swimming in it last year. Like, we were really the only people that were in the pool and the little hot tub and everything. Like, nobody else, just us. This year, that thing has been used consistently and by so many different people, and I'm seeing a lot more families living there, like little kids, infants and toddlers and little children. A lot more of those kids are now like being moved into this complex because it's a safe area. It's cleansed. It's healed, or healing, more healed than what it was before. So it's one of those things that know that your work is being accomplished. You are doing something. It may not feel like it in the whole grand scheme of things, but it is working. What you are doing is actually working. And so Know that you do matter. Where you are is vital for this part of the mission, but this part of the mission is almost over. It's very close to being finished. So don't give up. I know it's been exhausting. I know that you're probably pretty worn out. I know I am. I'm pretty worn out from this whole like healing and, you know, recycling energy and, you know, giving things up to Mother Gaia and then taking in and then giving things up and like freaking filtration, the you know, energetic filtration system. But it's getting close to being done and coming to an end. So know that. This month, October, is going to be a very, I feel like this month, with where we're at, is going to be a little bit more intense in the energy because of the fact that we're at that little last bit, and because of the eclipse, it's kind of shining a flashlight into the last few corners of the darkness. Sorry, I closed my eyes to get the image that I'm seeing clearer because, you know, third eye. But what I'm seeing is like this flashlight to try and get the last little pieces of remnants, because with the surge of the veil being like thinner during this time, we're able to see like the little hidden pieces, like the crumbs that are left over, that we want to make sure that, like, when you have a wound, you want to clear it out completely. You want to have it all cleansed, because if you leave it, if you try to leave, if you try to walk away after cleansing something and it's not all the way cleansed and there's still bacteria in it, it's going to get infected again. So right now, this is where we are in the last little bit of making sure we have cleansed and cleared out all of it. So this is going to kind of happen throughout to like the middle, the middle of October. And then it's kind of like dressing the wound, you know, making sure that it's all patched up for healing, for the last little bit of healing at the end of the month. So that's kind of where we're at with everything. So I just wanted to give this I wanted to give this message to those of you that are healing in places that are intense and that you are not sure. And then this is like a big sign for it, is if you're in a place where you are trying to get out and you just can't seem to get out, like it's like every time you try to get out, every time you try to move forward, you get knocked back and you can't leave, and you want to leave so bad. That's because you're meant to be there. I know you don't want to hear that. I know those are the words that you know, but you don't want to hear someone say it. Like, you already know it, but you don't want to hear them because you don't want that confirmation, because you're just like, I don't care, I want to go. That's okay. That's okay. Once you surrender and just say, okay, I'm here and I'll be able to go whenever it's time to go. Once you finally like accept that, the radical acceptance of it and the surrender part of it, it'll get easier. Find laughter. Give yourself good adequate sleep, because realize you're a freaking spiritual filter. Your body still needs to rest, because even though you're, cleaning energy like a freaking fish tank pump, then you still need to recharge, and you still need to take care of yourself. You still need to eat healthy food to keep your body up and running. You need to keep your body cleansed, and going out into nature, doing that kind of stuff truly will help with the cleansing of that energy, as well as giving you a chance to kind of like give the stuff over to Mother Nature and be like, okay, Mother Nature, please take this. I don't want it. It's not mine. It's not mine. That is something that getting out in nature will help. But I don't want to hold people up for too long, and I gotta get back out to go drive and make some more money. So I want to say that I love you guys, and just, you got this. It's okay. I get it. I hear you. I feel you, and know that you are not alone, and that it's gonna be over soon, before you know it, and you're gonna look back at this and be like, holy crap, did I really do all of that? Like, damn, I am so strong and I am so powerful because I was able to do that. Yes, you are. And yes, you did do it. So you are amazing. Keep up the hard work. I love you all. And happy October 1st.